Got traffic there. Blaster, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left base, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Tail dragger. Let's see what we got. A tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you cleared land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Kennard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Kennard's going to have to go around. Kennard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to re-sequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Kennard?
Yeah, Kennard.
All right, Kennard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Kennard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello. is it not working?
Why is not?
Hello! You can trust us for brilliant technical expertise.
Okay, as you may have seen, we are somewhere different. We're in the young and burgeoning Flyer studio. We it's not really a studio yet because we haven't got much of a set.
Yeah.
We just popped that up there to sort of blank out the blank wall, as it were. In terms of sound deadening, I'm sure you are hearing lots of echoes at the moment, but we're going to get that fixed. We're going to work on that. But it gives us an opportunity to be all together, to ramp up the video stuff that we do, and there you go. So I hope you enjoy it. This is kind of the first one, and it is, unsurprisingly, less than perfect for something like this. So there you go. Particularly that walk, that was supposed to go straight into, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right. Before anything else, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, you're not far wrong there. You're not far wrong. Before we say anything else, I'd just like to thank SkyDemon for supporting the live stream. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. If you haven't tried SkyDemon, then jump on there, get your 30-day trial. But frankly, I mean, surely everybody's tried SkyDemon, haven't they? I'd have thought so. Right, in that case, let me bring you the SkyDemon tip. This one's from Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob from SkyDemon, and here's another top tip. While a route is planned on screen, the virtual radar will appear. This is the area focused on the profile view of your flight, showing obstructions, airspace, and terrain along your route. Any legs that are planned below your MSA will be coloured in red. It's possible to rubber band vertically here, just as you can with the lateral map. The altitude scale is shown here on the left, and if you like, you can drag a finger up and down to change the size of the virtual radar. Terrain is shown in two greens, the bold green in the foreground being the height of terrain directly under your planned track, with the faded green in the background being the highest terrain in a corridor either side. The width of this corridor is set in the planning options, and it's what defines your MSA. Sometimes you might wish to see a particular point from your route in the virtual radar on the main map. Double tap the route line in the virtual radar to be shown that point laterally. It works in reverse too. Tapping the route in the main map to highlight that point in the virtual radar. Just like in the main map, you can press and hold anywhere in the virtual radar to bring up the What's Here menu for that point. For more information, check out our website or our user manual from within the app.
Oh, there you go. And that bloody virtual radar is pretty powerful. You just need to have a little play around and get to use it. So
It is very good.
just a quick reminder, coming up later, special guest Frank Vuton, Dr. Frank Vuton, EASA FAA AME, I think CA AME, anyway, EASA AME. An AME, should we say. So if you've got any medical questions that you need to ask on behalf of your friends, don't forget to get them ready, pop them in the comments, and we'll make sure we ask Frank when he comes along a little bit later.
Definitely. Looking in the comments, a couple of things to pick out on. Paul Cadell, very well points out, shout out to our friends impacted by the really awful arson attack that happened at Davidstow last night. I think was it 10 microlights?
9 or 10.
9 or 10 microlights lost due to an act of arson. Yeah, just awful. Really horrible to see that.
A little good.
Meanwhile, Stuart Rue says, you three look like you're transmitting from prison.
Yeah, Borderless Aviation says, where is the new Flyer studio? Venice? No. Southwest.
There you go.
Beautiful.
It's
Yeah, we're in Wiltshire, and we've got a farm strip about 50 yards from where we're sat. So yeah. There's potential for some activity here.
It's Wadswick.
It's one thing. No, it's Venice. It's Venice. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's it. And a hello to one of our live stream guests from a couple of weeks ago, JP.
Yeah.
We hope you're enjoying your breakfast, JP,
Yeah,
because we know it's early where you are.
Yeah, I know it might be in America by now.
Oh, possibly. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, where are we? We better have a look and move things. It must be time for the weather. So let me just bring in young Simon live. I'm going to push you over here and then use our new little layout. There you go.
Evening all. That's a bit posh.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm impressed.
We're like the voices over your shoulder, Simon.
Exactly. It's spooky. Where are you there? Wow. You're like a voice in my ear telling me what to do next. Excellent. Well, are you ready for some flying this weekend? Because it looks like the weather's going to be getting a little bit better. It's going to take a little bit of time. I think early next week really is when it gets really quite good. But actually, we got some windows to come this weekend as well. So shall we take a look? There we go. This is the satellite pitch. Thanks, David. Yeah, I'll put the shirt on especially just because the weather is getting better. It's time they came out again, isn't it? So yeah, this is how it looked today. Good satellite picture, actually. That lumpy stuff across southern England, that's a technical term. But the lumpy stuff across southern England, those are the cumulus and cumulonimbus clouds that grew this afternoon. You can see some across northern England and Scotland as well. But some good sunny spells in between, some good clear skies. Out towards the west of Ireland, that area of cloud, that's low pressure, which is going to zip through southern England, including Wiltshire, tomorrow, bringing some outbreaks of rain. That's Friday's chart. Now, just keep your eye on that graphic here. This is the cloud ceiling forecast. So this is when we've got 5/8 of cloud or more. So basically going into sort of broken cloud. Keep your eye on those through this weekend because they really tell the story. Where we've got the yellow colours, we've got bases of about 1,000 to 2,000 feet above sea level. Green is 2,000 foot plus. Oranges and red are just yuck. So keep your eye on that. So tomorrow, that area of low pressure moves through the channel. It brings cloud, it brings rain to southern parts of England. Showers across the Midlands, showers developing during the late morning and afternoon across northern England, southern and eastern Scotland. You see the trough there, that little sort of dashed black line, that shows that we could see some real quite intense convection. So some big cumulonimbus there developing during the course of Friday afternoon. So some thunderstorms around as well. Yeah, pretty yuck, isn't it, for Friday afternoon? Showers for Northern Ireland, fair in southern parts of Ireland. Friday, I think, for most of us is out of the question, although early on, perhaps across northern England and eastern Scotland, you'll get some flying in there. Now, Saturday, for me, this is going to be the pick of the weekend. Still got the remnants of that occluded front across East Anglia in the southeast. That's still the rain from Friday that's not quite cleared away, but it will do in the afternoon. So East Anglia and Southeast England get better on Saturday afternoon. Quite a brisk north and northeasterly wind blowing, probably around about a 15 to 18 knot there. Now, elsewhere, it looks like it should be pretty fair. Maybe a few morning mist and fog patches, but they'll be gone by sort of 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then most areas are going to see light winds, high cloud bases above 4,000 feet, tops at about 7,000 feet for much of Saturday. Decent visibility as well. And as I say, improving across East Anglia and Southeast England in the afternoon. Warm front coming in from the west, you'll notice there during the afternoon, bringing some rain, bringing some drizzle into Western Ireland. And that then slips eastwards into Sunday. And what that tends to do is to just clag up western coasts with low cloud bases, probably around 500 to 1,000 feet across western coasts and hills, and that kind of slips its way eastwards during the day. Having said that, eastern Scotland, eastern England look flyable during the course of Sunday morning, but that cloud then encroaches in the afternoon. But I have to say, I think kind of eastern Scotland, eastern England, much of southeast England probably flyable for much of the day. If you were thinking of doing any cross-channel stuff, be careful because Sunday afternoon we may see some low cloud drifting in, probably getting as far east as central parts of the channel, and just light winds on Sunday. But we need to get that kind of claggy stuff out of the way because by Monday, high pressure is going to be building in. We pick up more of an easterly during the course of next week. That looks like bringing in drier air from the continent. And although it could be quite breezy at times, I actually think we're going to get some decent flying in for much of next week. So really, it is a good news story. But as I say, Saturday is going to be the pick of the weekend. I've got a single place left on my aviation weather school, my online aviation weather school, which starts next Tuesday. So it's over the consecutive Tuesdays of the 18th and 25th of April. It's an evening course, so it'd be great if you can join us. Go to weatherschool.co.uk for more information and to book your place now. So actually, all in all, I think probably focus for Saturday for the weekend, but look forward to some better flying conditions next week. It's good news for a change. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Cheers, Simon.
Thanks, Simon.
See ya.
As Whiskey Alpha Pilot says, who's flying to Friedrichshafen? He was asking. There was a question about good weather. He's like, what's the weather for flying to Germany next week? Are you planning to fly, Wayne?
Lovely. I think it's going to be lovely, mainly, although we're going BA, aren't we?
Yeah.
So there you go. Right. What have we got next? It's time for Johnny.
Club promo, yeah. So if you've not joined, and there aren't many people that haven't, so you're missing out. If you're not a member, you can join for just £5 a month at the Fly Club, or pay up front for the whole year, £52, and you get access to all the great content, plus one of the biggest benefits for most people, which is the landing vouchers, sponsored by Poolies this month, which are Easter, Bodmin, Carnarvon, Rougham, and Tatton Hill, which is weekdays only. And we've also got another webinar coming up in a week or two from Mark Greenfield about UPRT. So more information about that will come out very soon. And also, I think people are still cracking on with their Fly 2023 attempts.
They are.
Absolutely.
Fly 23, supported by Bose Continental and U Avionics. Thank you very much, Bose Continental and U Avionics.
And if you've got updates on your Fly 2023 adventures, which is 2023 minutes or 23 airfields, pop them in the Flyer forum thread, which is about 10 odd pages at the moment. So, and some great photos and news from various people around the UK.
Talking of news, time for you, Ed. Lead us away with the news in Dave's absence.
In Dave's absence, he's not with us. He was up for a training day earlier and has gone home early for Coco. So.
Yeah, basically.
Just a reminder that the May issue compilation is out. It's got articles about learning to fly T6 Harvard, part 2 of our series on the cost of gaining a private pilot's license, where we look at PPLH, plus Dave White's excellent Pimp Your Life jacket feature, where he reminds you that whatever you have, you can improve it and it could save your life.
So, sorry, I'm just reading messages. You know what it's like these days? You get messages on here, you get messages on email, you get messages. Anyway, I've just had a message. Thank you very much, Mark. That mic's not actually working. We're actually using these mics at the moment. That mic there is our kind of standby mic, which we'll plug in if we have to. So we're on this now. But thanks very much for your top tip there. So that's that bit done with. I'm all kind of discombobulated a bit now. So we've done that.
You are.
That's it. That's what we've got next. We have got the next news story is basically, as if you didn't know already, next week is Aero Week. Woohoo! We can't bloody wait to get to Aero, and we've been kind of like looking around, and Robin sent out a little mailer to their database, which had us intrigued.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is it.
What's under the cover? I think this is a Turbotech turbine.
See, Ed thinks it's a Turbotech turbine. I think it's a Rotax 916 IS.
Yeah, I know that engine launches at the show, but Rotax are planning the 912 IS. I think this is going to be one of those completely wacky grab the headlights
Who would
thing.
put a turbine in a Robin, for God's sake?
Robin.
Well, we agreed earlier, didn't we? And if you're right and it is a turbine in a Robin, I'm going to pay 10 quid to Airability.
If it's not, I'll donate 10 quid to
If it's not,
Airability.
you'll donate 10 quid to. So I did try and find out. So I clicked on the picture because it says, click on the link, and unfortunately, it just takes you to this error 404. Oops.
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah. So unfortunately, what else are we waiting for at the Aero?
Cub Crafters Carbon Cub UL, obviously the launch aircraft for the Rotax 916. The Rotax 916 itself is going to be big new European launch news.
It'll be all over area like a rash.
Yes.
Talking of rashes, if you've got any questions for Frank, get them in your If your friends have got a rash, Johnny, if you've got any friends with
Men.
then that's good. I don't know, what else are we waiting for? Eric?
Oh,
I'm
and
suspecting everyone will have a Bose A30 on their stand.
Probably, yeah. JMB will have a VL3 with the Rotax 916. So, and there'll probably be someone talking about setting a speed record in the microlight world, because it's all about the horsepower speed race with a lot of those.
I'm not convinced about that for microlights, you know. But you know, hey ho.
Yeah.
Hey ho. There you go. Right, Johnny.
Yeah, so we've got a sort of update from Compton Abbas. So when we last mentioned it, the planned works were taking a bit longer than the airfield had planned. But a friend of Ed's visited today and said that he saw loads of work being carried out with lots of workers on site. The cafe and the kitchen area being totally rebuilt and expanded with a sort of area that looks like a VIP pilots area for residents and visiting pilots. The aircraft parking area is further east and there's more car parking going in, and ops is now bigger with an electronic check-in and check-out. The aerial has been replaced. So for those of you who come from the south, there's a bit of a dead spot from the air ground service. There should now be 5x5 all around. And at the moment, there's very limited food in the cafes. It's still a sort of temporary space and with nowhere to sit except outside. And it's all very much a building site, but as Ed's friend says, it shows huge promise. So we look forward to going.
Yeah, definitely.
At this point in time, I would be. What was that? Ola from Andalusia. Who's
No. It was I was going for that. Mark Jeffries. Who thinks Johnny looks like Zelensky?
What's that drone overhead?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
More like St. John Young went Zelensky against Carl.
He's obsessed with Carl Frosch.
What am I doing? Right. At this point in time, hello, Dr. Frank Wooten. See you in the green room. That's good. Just wait there. We'll be with you shortly. What have we got? What was I going to talk about? I know. I was going to talk about Varma, this whole new thing. I was going to show you a picture of a ridiculously ugly Cessna 150 that the EAA have worked on in the. I mean, I don't know why they let blind people choose colour schemes, but they do. Anyway,
So you're doing my news story.
Good point. Ed's going to talk to you all about. Ed, what's this Varma thing?
So, keeping old aircraft flying can be a challenge when it comes to locating parts, especially for type certificated aircraft. So it's good to see a new policy from the FAA regarding the use of off-the-shelf parts. It's been worked out by the EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association, and it's going to help a large vintage aircraft following. And it's the Vintage Aircraft Replacement and Modification article. And thanks to one of our viewers, Paul Fraser-Benison, I know he's been staying up late and to watch one of the updates from the FAA. Paul, can you tell us more about what the meeting revealed?
Yep, thanks, Ed. Good evening, everybody. I did actually join the meeting at 6 o'clock, where I thought that's a nice time, but of course it was 6 p.m. Central, which is midnight London. So I was in my gym jams. The reason I joined the meeting is that I'm the UK ambassador for the International Stinson Club. And the Stinson Club is one of the type club committee, but our president, Jody Jones, couldn't join. He asked me to substitute. So it was a quick meeting hosted by the EAA, a guy called Tom Charpentier, who is the government relations director. And the guest of honor, if you like, was Scott Foreman, who is the FSDO manager in Chicago, who is leading with Varma. And there were about a dozen type club member groups represented. And it was fascinating. The thing that I really wanted to say to everyone was the relationship between the FAA and EAA looked very warm. They're all on the same page, all facing the same direction. And so there was an awful lot of good spirit in the room. And it's basically, as Ed has just said, it's about keeping vintage aircraft in the air. Why does that come over to this country? Well, I'll tell you that in a minute, but certainly they have the same problems we have, that you just can't get parts. And of course, in the States, a lot of their vintage aircraft are on full certificates. They're not on experimental. They can go a thing called exhibition demonstration, but generally speaking, they're full fat. And so it's very difficult to get an 8133 or a Form 1 for things that are, as Tom said, made out of unobtainium. And so what they've come up with is this notion of using existing policy, existing rules and regulations in a novel way. And they're taking real baby steps. So what they're saying is it's not a replacement for what they call PMAs, which is the part manufactured for aircraft, that sort of stuff. It's not a replacement for ACs, and it's not a replacement for field approvals. But they've tried it with a few very obvious things like replacement solenoids, replacement starter clutches, brakes, bits and pieces like that, and it appears to work. Of course, they talk in the same code as we talk, but theirs is a different code. So they're saying, of course, it's AC 4318, and everyone's going, yeah, and I'm going, what's AC 4318? But that's about fabricated parts. So effectively, what they're saying is, if you cannot get the part for your Waco, for your Stinson, for your Air Coupe or whatever, but here is a part which does the same job, if it doesn't make it any less safe by fitting it, you can apply through the regional offices, and the one in Chicago is leading with this, and you can get a ticket which says, yes, you've put an attestation together, which says that's the way forward, and you then can fit the part. But what it is, it's not a blanket approval. So you fitting the part is you fitting the part. It isn't everyone else can go and fit the same part to their Waco. And so it's not a replacement for field approvals, STCs. It's an individual, but each type club is encouraged then to note who in their club has fitted a new alternator to their whatever, and build up a database. And they're using the experience that they've seen happen in the experimental world, but not looking to just wholesale pick up all the products that you get at Oshkosh and all the tents, that sort of thing. Very interestingly, and it comes over to this country, that Scott does not want pilots to become criminals. In other words, we all know that what's happening in the world of vintage aircraft is that people have got a broken part, they take it off, they go and find a similar working part, but the logbook says part removed, cleaned, inspected and returned to service. It's a fudge. He doesn't want that to happen. He wants it above board. And I think we should be following the same. They do 300 field approvals in Chicago alone with a 30-day turnaround. Are you listening, CAA, LAA? Varma isn't going to be at that rate. They're only having one guy doing Varma in Chicago, so it's very small. It's definitely not for things like a complete undercarriage change. One of the guys on the meeting had a rear wing and he wanted to do a complete undercarriage change. He said, no, it's not for that. It's if you want to put a different brake pad in your undercarriage. So there's a guy there called Rob Hackman. He's the EAA's government advocacy. And he was saying, basically, this is right to the top. Jack Pelton, and the people in the FAA, of course, they haven't got a head at the moment. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's facing the same way. I sent a press release to my contacts in the CAA and to the LAA. CAA have come straight back and gone, whoa, we didn't know anything about this and we're trying to do things. So what I've now done is brokered a meeting between CAA General Aviation Unit and the ACO over in the States, because there are American registered vintage aircraft over here. But if there's going to be a liberalization of fitting proprietary parts to vintage aircraft to keep them flying in the States, that surely must eventually percolate to this country. And interestingly enough, their vintage aircraft started aircraft certificated before 1980, which is only 40 years ago. So it's, even 182s. You know, it really is. It's a very small acorn, but I think it's got great potential, and it could help a lot of people this side of the pond as well as over there.
I think we need to water that quite vigorously, and hopefully it will grow and sprout wings and get lots of good things. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for that, Paul.
Sorry, it was a bit longer than 5 minutes. Sorry.
That's okay.
No,
It's been a
great,
pleasure.
great information. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right. Thanks for being at the meeting.
I'll go to bed now.
Well, that's good news.
It is.
I like ideas like that.
Yeah, me too. What do you reckon? Given the next story is yours, do you think that could be worth spreading the idea to them?
To the LAA, obviously, my news story is obviously the new CEO of the LAA, Simon Tilling, seen here at Wadswick last week because he dropped in for a quick visit. Simon took over this week. I hear it's gone really, really well. Steve Slater obviously is stepping down tomorrow, I believe, and walks off into retirement. So more time for Cub and Curry Watt flying. But good luck to Simon, obviously, and looking forward to seeing what he does. And obviously, things like, hopefully he'll look at things like the Varma program and go, there's good things that we can all learn from.
We can plagiarise. That's what you mean.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, so my next story is to do with Skyports up in Scotland, who are apparently managed to get some agreement to run their drones beyond visual line of sight, but not beyond visual line of sight, as it were, beyond visual stretched line of sight. Dave got the whole lowdown on this today, and I'm not sure we really understood what it was.
So obviously they're planning to fly mail in the Orkney Islands using a fairly sizable winged drone. You've got some photos.
They sent us this picture, which apparently isn't the drone they're going to be using.
No, but apparently the drone they are using is about that size.
Is it? Is it like this?
I don't think it's like that.
You sure?
Yeah, I would love that if that was actually like that. But, yeah.
So apparently it's going to. It's because of the topography. I don't know if that means that there's someone sitting on a mountain with binoculars.
It did. You know, Dave. Obviously, we can't quote him because he's not here. But he did say this does sound like it'll be men with binoculars flying a drone.
It does.
So, and that gets around having a TDA. And anyway, who knows?
That's a good thing. That is a good thing. So, according to my list of news, the next news story is Johnny. However, I've just spotted we got this picture in here. I'm not quite sure what we got this picture of.
There was obviously going to be. I tell you what, if Johnny talks about that, I'll go and see if I can find news to go with that picture.
Okay, you do that.
You've got precisely 20 seconds.
Oh no, Johnny.
Johnny.
No, so next Saturday we've got our next Pilot Careers Live event at the Sofitel Heathrow, which is right next to Terminal 5, really easy to get to. So if you or anyone that you know is interested in professional flying, doesn't need to be airlines, you could want to fly DC-3s or helicopters in the North Sea, all of that kind of stuff. You can come along, get all the information you need from ATOs, speak to cadets, speak to pilots themselves, speak to airlines. There'll be lots of presentations and seminars throughout the day. So you can get your tickets at pilotcareerslive.com. We're out of priority tickets, so we've only got standard tickets left, but you can still get access to lots of bits and pieces, and you get access to the exhibition all day long. So there's no, even though the tickets are AM PM, the access is all day. So come along if you're interested in that.
That's a week on Saturday, isn't it?
Yes, a week on Saturday.
Excellent. When we get back from Aero.
Good news.
Are you looking forward to Aero, Johnny?
Well, according to Litherland, I'm looking after Ukraine, so I'm busy.
Well, yeah, you've got more to do. I found the good news. I found the news to go with the hydrogen photo. So H2 Fly, it's a German developer of hydrogen fuel cell systems for aircraft. They've successfully tested their ground-based liquid hydrogen filling test with a newly developed liquid hydrogen tank. Now, this is a 2-fuselage aeroplane, because clearly, if that was a single fuselage aeroplane, you'd struggle to fit the pilot in. But this is part of a European project called Heaven. It's a 5-strong consortium, and it demonstrates the feasibility of using a liquid cryogenic hydrogen-fueled powered fuel cell powertrain in an aeroplane. So, and these are all small steps.
And they've emphasised ground-based, so presumably there must be something else in them.
It says here there's a critical step for our upcoming. It's a critical step for our upcoming flight test campaign this summer, which will demonstrate the feasibility of liquid hydrogen as a fuel for medium and long haul flight.
So there won't be any air-to-air refueling with hydrogen being passed.
No, I don't think so.
Talking about little steps, it's going to be a while before you can use that self-siphon pump after hours, isn't it?
Well, I have trouble with a fuel hose and a grounding lead, so I definitely run into this. Would be chaos if I dealt with this.
Good. Right. Get your rashes ready. It's time for our guest, Dr. Frank Vuton. And as soon as I found my mouse pointer, there it is. Let's bring him on there. Oh dear, put you in the wrong place.
Oh no!
Now
You're
what's
stuck.
happened?
There you go. Look at that.
Oh, Frank. Top beard. How you doing?
I'm fine. The beard is a relic from the last skiing holiday. Earlier in January, I was too lazy to shave, and
What, did you
then
leave your razor in the house or something?
Yeah, they're just being rude. Anyway, my wife said it looked good. So when you're married for 25 years, as I will be next month, and they say it looks good, then you best listen to your wife, I think. Anyway, that's my policy. Happy wife, happy life. So
Congratulations on your upcoming 25 years, Frank.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was amazed and stunned how quick it's
Okay, good.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. See, Annabelle C says that's a very smart beard, Frank.
Thank you.
Oh, there's lots of love for the beard going on. I've lost my mouse pointer again. Wherever there it is. Okay, right. Basically, while Ed's searching the comments for questions, which I know there's been a few, perhaps you could kind of kick off by telling us. I mean, it seems to me we all know that the pilot population is sadly aging. From a kind of AME medical point of view, what are kind of the typical factors that the aging pilot population may be facing, and more to the point, what can we do apart from PMDs to not let those things ground us effectively?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, and I've written about it a couple of times in the past as well, both for the magazine and for the BGA in their magazine, because it's general Asian and gliding pilots that are aging. And when I last looked some 2 years ago, the average age of the GA pilot population was 56, and I hazard to guess that has further grown with age, because we see not that many young people, especially not in the general aviation scene for medicals. It's mainly commercial people that join the ranks at a younger age. General aviation is not as popular as it was when we were maybe younger, and therefore there's not that many young people joining. In Germany, where I now do most of my work, there's quite a lot of people who are actively gliding, and because over here they need a LAPL medical as a minimum, I do see a fair few of those. But in general aviation, as in powered flying, I see very few new entrants under the age of 30.
So what can us older? I'm almost glad to say, for once I'm above average.
Yes. Well, in the UK, many people have moved on to PMDs, which I think is a very sensible thing to do. And of course, initially, when there were lots of limitations about where you could fly due to Corona, the fact that you could only fly in the UK was not a big problem. There's now more people who find, well, I need to have, when I want to fly abroad, I need to have a class 2. So you see those people returning to the clinics. But most people who used to fly on a LAPL make the sensible choice to fly with on a PMD. So going back to what your initial question was about what are the main issues and what can we do about it, we only have to look around ourselves and see that with aging, many people put on weight, and people start suffering from the age and weight related health problems, high blood pressure, developing diabetes, sleep apnea, and so on and so forth. And really what is important is to try to keep yourself as healthy as possible. And what does that mean? It means looking after yourself, eating healthy food, good food, and making sure you do some exercise. And that doesn't mean say go to the gym. Advice is 3 times a week, 20 minutes, whereby you just get a little bit warmer. That's quite all right. And then that is very good, not just for your physical health, but also for your psychological health. There's very hard and good evidence to suggest that people who do these things actually live longer and healthier. Avoiding high blood pressure by making sure you lose some weight. And in that respect, it's good to know that if you reduce your weight by 10%, you get a 25% reduction in weight-related diseases such as diabetes, such as a variety of forms of cancer, etc. So 10% in, 25% out. I think that is a very good investment. I know at the moment it's extremely difficult to get an appointment with your GP or with your GP practice to get a health check. But if you can, go and get your blood pressure checked, or buy for 10 quid a blood pressure monitor. Get one that goes on your upper arm, because the ones that go on your wrist are not so good and reliable. And check your blood pressure. And if it's too high, and too high is actually quite low these times, if it's over 135, over 85, go and see your doctor or go and see the practice nurse. They can help you manage your blood pressure, should you have any. Get them to dipstick your urine. Only half of the people with diabetes know they've got diabetes. And whilst it may be attractive to forget about these things, one thing you can be sure about, that diabetes and these other maybe hidden or not so acute health problems do affect your health long term. In that respect, it's also good to know that we do see that when people get managed well, manage their health, have no diabetes or have it well managed, have their blood pressure managed, there's a reduction in the amount of strokes and heart attacks. When I was a young doctor, which was clearly only 2 weeks ago, we regularly would be called out of practice for people who had an acute stroke or had a heart attack. We see that very little now, and not only because most of these people are now directly managed by the emergency services, but also actually fewer people now do have these acute illnesses. Also because people reduce smoking. In the UK, at the moment, still 17% of people smoke, but there's half of the people that smoke in Germany and in the Netherlands. So if you still smoke, consider giving that up. Go and get yourself some help. Get nicotine plasters. Do a reducing scheme whereby every couple of weeks you reduce the amount of cigarettes you smoke. And why? Because smoking is such a high risk for cardiovascular diseases, strokes, heart attacks. People come to me and they say, well, I would like to have my cholesterol measured. I ask them, do you smoke? And if they smoke, I said, don't worry about your cholesterol, because smoking is 5 times worse than family history, being overweight, having a high blood pressure, having the male gender, and having high cholesterol. So people are just not aware that these things, and we know that we should do things. I should exercise more. I should definitely lose some weight, as some of those who know me in real life can attest to. But it all helps to make you healthier, live longer, and be able to fly longer. So those are sort of the main top tips. If somebody go to the gym, you don't have to go to the gym, because most of the time the only pounds you lose by going to the gym are the ones that should live in your wallet.
Absolutely. Perhaps you could help us by explaining the health benefits of drinking an occasional glass of wine or beer.
Those benefits are only seen in French studies.
Okay.
For the wine, the 1 glass of red wine a day, actually, when that was critically looked at, proved to be not quite true. In actual fact, 2 years ago, a study came out that there is no safe limit on the amount of alcohol. In that respect, it's like smoking. It is there is no, if you drink less than X amount, there are guidelines, and for men that is less than 14 units, and a pint is 2.5 units. So you're quickly there. Is is it's in fact better not to drink at all. I think in our society, quite a lot of people like to have a drink, and I think as long as you stay within those guidelines, then you should be okay.
Okay, and I see. I can see something that other people can't see, which is the little I'm safe poster that you got. I think we were speaking about this the other day. And basically, regardless of the frequency of your medical, between medicals, you're effectively self-certifying yourself to go flying every day.
But before every flight, you self-certify, because in between the times that you have your medical, even if it's once every 6 months, as some Class 1 people do, there are still 180 days whereby you have to decide before every flight: am I safe to fly? I'll see if my IT capabilities stretch to.
I think I need to do that for you. Let me add that on.
There you go.
So I mean, just quickly run us through it if you can, because
most of it is common sense. It's illness. Don't go and fly when you're unwell. If you don't feel well, if you're coming down with a cold, if you've had gastroenteral problems with diarrhea and vomiting, you don't go and fly, because most of the people in the audience here will be flying for fun, and there will always be another day. And even if you've missed a couple of hours of sleep due to having to go to the toilet a couple of times, you're just not fit. You will be a little bit dehydrated. And whilst you may be able to function okay when you're on the ground, we know that when we go and fly, there's an additional strain both on us physically, as in the environment we're in, with noise, sounds, vibrations, etc. But also we need to make decisions all the time when we're flying. And if you're a bit dehydrated, you don't make the best decisions. And it's my opinion that most people, when they have accidents, it's because something has gone wrong in the decision-making process. Then the next thing is medication. Medication in itself very often is not the problem, but people take medication for a reason. If you've got a headache and you need to take ibuprofen or you need to paracetamol, why have you got that headache, and why do you need to take the medication? So think, what's the underlying condition? Stress. No, everybody in life has got stress, if you're going through a stressful time, you've had an argument with your partner, or things at work are not so good, or you're in a little bit of a financial difficult period of your life, just think, is this the right thing for me to do? And many people say, oh yes, but when I go to the airfield, I really relax. Well, then go to the airfield and relax, but maybe don't fly on those days that you feel stressed out. The next one is alcohol and drugs. I think that the drugs, I think, speak for themselves. Drugs alter the state of mind and don't lead to good decisions. And the same goes for alcohol. Not just when you drink alcohol are people incapacitated or less able to make good decisions. It's also if people drink regular amounts of alcohol, the time when they don't drink alcohol, their brain craves for the alcohol then. And again, you're not making the right decisions. I'm not talking about drinking some alcohol every now and then recreationally. But people who've got an alcohol problem, they are going to go and land. They don't go around because they'll land off that approach, because they need to get their alcohol. Fatigue, tiredness, etc. Lots of people now have got stressful lives. Find it difficult to come down and to relax. If you're fatigued, don't go and fly. Eating, having a meal before you go flying, and making sure you're well hydrated, very important. And this is what we should do really before every flight. Am I okay? Am I feeling stress-free, well hydrated, well rested? And then go and fly and enjoy it, of course.
Oh, so are you still there, or are you frozen?
Yes, I'm here.
You're good. Ed, let's see if there's any friends with rashes. Ed, have we got any?
So we have a few questions in the comments. The first one, Bob Buckfield, a question for Frank. What are the CAA requirements after cataract surgery before flying again?
Okay, well, all that guidance, and that's where the CAA is the UK CAA is very good, and not all national aviation authorities on the rest of the world are very good. The exact guidance is on the CAA website, but in essence, after you've recovered from the surgery and you give it some time, then you can go flying again. I think the official line is 4 weeks.
Fantastic. Okay, another eye-related question from
One
Fernando.
one thing I would like to say about people that are due to have cataract surgery is do check with your AME or on the CA website what sort of lens, and discuss with your ophthalmologist what sort of lenses you're going to have. Multifocal intraocular lenses, which are purported to give people the ability to see as well in the distance as nearby, are not so good, and there are still quite a lot of people who will have difficulties with glare, especially in the evenings. It's only been recently that the CA will have allowed some people with this type of lenses when they already had them implanted before they were flying, and there is good evidence that they tolerate them very well, and there's no deterioration in their ability to see contrast, and have no problems with night vision, that they actually will people then on an individual basis to go flying.
Okay, another one. If a pilot only has one eye within the limits specified by the CA, can that pilot still fly?
Yep, that is fine. They get an AML limitation, which means that they need to wear flying goggles when they fly in open cockpit airplanes. And even people who have not always had just one eye, but have had an accident whereby they've lost the sight in one eye, can regain their medical after an appropriate period of adjustment, which is 6 months in general.
And I can actually speak from experience because I'm technically classified as a one-eyed pilot, because my right eye doesn't do very many useful things. Only my left eye is particularly useful to you. And like you say, if I fly open cockpit, I must wear something to protect the one good eye.
Yeah,
keep it closed.
In that respect, it's very interesting, and even in the higher echelons of some of the aeromedical authorities, it's not very well understood that you actually don't need to have stereopsis, the ability to see to gauge depth when you go flying, because that ability is not required past anything that's more than 8 foot away. You gauge the depth by experience, not through stereopsis, and that's why kids who are 7 or 8 years of age can only just start gauging and learning how to cross the street safely. But there's loads of one-eyed pilots, both currently and in the past. Wiley Post flew around the world with only one functioning eye. So that is all. That's all not a problem. But discussing that with learned colleagues, I think they're called, they sometimes look at you in amazement when you, as an AME, and I've been around the block for quite some time, when you say, well, guys with one eye can just fly as well as safely as those with two.
Very good. Dan Smith says, if we're talking medical stuff, does anyone know if the Irish Aviation Authority, have they changed their decision on only allowing those with Class 2, not PMD, into their airspace?
That's a regulatory question. I'm not a regulator, so you need to discuss that with the IAA.
No worries. More of a licensing. Marcus says, question for a friend. What's the minimum time after starting on high blood pressure medication that the CAA will allow flying again?
Okay, when your blood pressure is too high, you need to start medication. You are grounded, you can't fly until such time that your medication with approved medication, which is a little list that's again to be found on the CAA website. But the good news on this is that it is most mainstream NHS prescribed blood pressure medication is acceptable for the authorities. And as soon as the blood pressure is within limits, and that is below 140 over 90, and there's been a period of adjustment where you've been on that medication or that combination of medication for 2 weeks or more, and then no side effects, you can go back to flying.
Fantastic. Okay. What else have we got? Linda Griffith says, is there a specific requirement to have follow-up echocardiogram tests after an initial one? I've been informed that one is required after a 3-year gap to maintain a class 2.
It's entirely dependent on age. But for the class 2, there was some time until 2-3 years ago whereby you didn't need an ECG for an initial class 2. But now you do need an ECG again for a class 2, and those people who've never had an ECG for class 2 medicals, who now go for a renewal or revalidation, will need an ECG. And then after the age of 50, you need to have an ECG again every 2 years.
Okay. And a follow-up from Lyndon. He said, are you still practicing in the UK, Frank?
Yes, no, at the moment not. When I fell ill in 2017 with my infamous cold, Mike Fonzo took over my clinic at Birmingham, and I go to him myself for my medical. But then for some time I did the clinic to Western still. But I've now got quite busy with work in Germany, both in my general practice there and the aviation medicals that I do there. So I'm not coming to the UK regularly enough anymore to maintain a clinic there.
Okay. Jane's got a question. She said, on a drug to keep cancer stable, otherwise I'm reasonably fit and healthy, happy to jump on a bike and do 18 miles. Can I pass a medical?
If you, for that question that's so specific, you need to make contact with your or with an aeromedical examiner, because that it very much depends what type of cancer it is, what the treatment is, etc.
Okay. Mike says, is an EASA class 1 medical more strict on myopia than the CAA?
As far as I'm aware, there's not been any divergence as yet. So the requirements for that will be found on the EASA, and it should be still the same. I'm pretty sure it is. As far as I'm aware, the EASA has not tightened up on those rules in the time since the UK left the EASA.
Okay. So. Question from Stuart. He said, I'm interested to hear Frank's take on the new self-assessment CAA psychological questionnaire at each medical. It seems like a box-ticking exercise with no real benefit to aviation security. Any views on that, Frank?
Oh, yes. Can I share them with you? Right. The problem is that after the German wings tragedy, which affected a local community not very far from where we live here in Germany, clearly it was felt that something needed to be done. And the mental health assessment questionnaire is a result from that feeling that something needed to be done. The difficulty is that God, I should have honed my diplomatic skills a bit before I had this question thrown at me. I think that whatever system you have, it will always be possible for somebody who's got malign intentions to do something that's happened like that. I think that it's very good that mental health issues and stress have become maybe more discussable during the time since then. And if the questionnaire is a tool that helps with that, and I think that it is then it is useful. I think that most AMEs, especially those who've been looking after their pilot population for a longer period of time, would already make an informal assessment of that, and that their relationship with their pilots is such that pilots would contact their AME to discuss the difficulties that they may or may not experience. And I think that in that respect, maybe not all national aviation authorities are as liberal and forward-looking as the UK has been, and made that possible. The UK was the forerunner for making it possible for people with depression on the appropriate medication, whereby their symptoms were well controlled, to regain flying status. That is officially now possible in a number of other EASA countries, but certainly not as commonplace as it is in the UK. And this is an issue because we just spoke about the "I'm safe" poster. You know, stress factors. People live in real lives, and they have got work stress, they've got home stress, they've got financial stress. And let's face it, the world at the moment is a complicated enough place that anybody who tells me they never give the state of the world a consideration in their thoughts, I think I'm not probably very honest. And it's much better to talk about these things and manage that than to pretend nothing is happening and all is well.
We just we need to wrap up a little. I don't know if we got any more.
We got
quick questions.
One more very quick question to finish off with. Peter Griswood said, a friend has had a hernia op. Does this mean his PMD is invalid?
Yes. He needs to make he needs to make a new declaration when he's fit again.
Okay.
Okay. Well, depends. Clearly, it also depends what a hernia, because a hernia is not a hernia if it's in the groin, or an umbilical hernia, or a hernia in the back. But basically, yes. If you got something more than the sniffles, anything that should normally require you to go and attend your doctor, consider your PMD not valid, and make an assessment afterwards whether you think that you meet the standard again. And if you do meet the standard, go fly.
Frank, thank you very much. It's been very useful. I'm feeling we could have gone on for many, many hours. So perhaps what we can do is get you back at some point in the future. And you can hone those diplomatic skills and keep the beard trim and look after yourself.
I'll do my best for both. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Frank. Phew.
Good stuff there. Excellent guest. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Yeah. So, fancy hangar. This week, because the FAA's Varma program offers us potentially easier options for the future of vintage aircraft maintenance, we thought it's a good excuse just to pick some really lovely rare vintage aeroplanes for our fancy hangar. So, who's first?
Dave, because he's not here.
Dave, because he's not here.
Because he's not here. So we recorded Dave earlier outside of our new studio. So here's Dave's submission for this week's fantasy hangar.
So I've chosen the Luscombe Phantom, or the Luscombe 1, depending on how you look at it. It's a 1930s Luscombe, obviously, but it's the forerunner of everything they then produced. So it's before the 8, which became the most famous one. The Phantom is the one that was a luxury built with a radial engine, and it just looks lovely. There's not many of them around. It's one I've found in California. Unfortunately, it's not for sale, and I probably couldn't afford it, but what a lovely aeroplane.
Good choice. Nice. Strong start.
Good choice.
Always a Luscombe for Dave.
Did Dave have like a sailing jacket on?
It did look a bit like that.
I think he didn't have the old leather.
It is a bit cold out there.
Yeah, he's found another hobby again.
Yeah,
he has, exactly. Well, I think we should move to Johnny next.
Right.
I just need to find where Johnny is.
Richard Kennedy says, of course, it's been ages since Dave could choose a Luscombe.
It's about a fortnight, isn't it? So I've gone for an airplane I saw this week, actually. In fact, 2 days ago, the Stinson Model O, which is a lovely parasol winged tail dragger, open cockpit, really nice looking thing. But the story was is bizarre, because it was, despite the looks, it looks lovely. It was built for the Honduran Air Force to do light attack and training with.
And look glamorous while they were doing it, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think it's a great looking machine. And only a very small number of them were built. I think 3 ended up with the Honduran Air Force, and they did sort of coastal patrols when Pearl Harbor happened. and then a few went out to China to one of its provincial air forces, and one, or in fact this one, which the first photo was of, is a reproduction built by one of the guys who owned Evergreen out in Oregon, and that's the airplane now at the Museum of Flight in Seattle. But beautiful looking machines, and I just love the story.
That is certainly rare.
It is certainly rare. So I'm going to leave you to go last, if that's right, Ed.
I can go last.
So basically, the thing was to find an aircraft that was rare and vintage and therefore cheaper to replace because parts were difficult.
Yes.
I decided to go for the TB20.
Well, that would, Varma could definitely make maintaining something like that much easier, I'm sure.
Yeah, I suppose it might not be that vintage, but the parts aren't always easy to get on. But no, seriously, I went for something absolutely gorgeous. There's only one of these left, and it's in a museum, and it's certainly not airworthy. So what do you think about that? The Mackie MC72, world speed record, held it for 5 years, I believe. I thought it had one engine. Ed told me it had two, because Ed would know these things. It's two V12s driving contra-rotating propellers.
It's also Italian, Ian, so I'm not sure Varma would help you maintain this in flying condition.
Well, the Italians, who are famously rubbish at aviation regulation.
Anyone out in Italy in the aviation regulation game, please don't be offended.
So I'm not going to tell you my Italian regulations. No, and that's for another day. But you know, I don't want to fall in love with the CAA, but sometimes they're not the worst in Europe.
Yes. Okay.
Should we say? But
Martin Newsby offers a very quick question. What's the classification of vintage? Well, for Varma, it's beyond. It's 1980 and earlier.
Yeah.
Which pretty much covers all the aviation fleet.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't care if this doesn't really apply. It's just gobsmackingly beautiful.
It
goes at the best part of 400 knots. It's got two V12s.
It's pretty nice.
It's 2,500 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's got floats.
And I'm guessing parts would be difficult to obtain for this.
Parts are going to be difficult to obtain, and
your local Fiat dealer may be able to help.
They probably could, to be fair, and they'd be cheaper as well. But I reckon that's drop dead gorgeous, and I want one.
Yep.
Mark Lithen said, that's quite nice if aliens abducted Ian and it replaced him with someone that has taste. That's harsh, Mark.
Oh man, that is harsh.
Yes.
That is very harsh.
Very hard.
Right there.
However, I think I've got a potentially winning option that's pretty damn lovely looking. So I picked the fabulous Monocoop 110 Special from 1931. Little radial racer developed from the Monocoop 110. It's 125 horsepower Warner Scarab in a beautiful blister cowling. It was sculpted with little scallops to take all this big size engine. It was built and it meet the needs of racing pilots. It had a 32-foot wing shortened to 23 foot, drag reducing fairings and wheel pants. It was capable of 220 miles an hour, and it was the bee's knees. Everyone who wanted to go fast had one of these. There were only 7 made. They've all been written off and rebuilt in their lifespan. Another 3 have been recreated. Exceedingly rare, breathtakingly beautiful. I'd love one in my hangar, though I expect it would probably spend most of its time trying to kill me.
Wasn't there one of those on Vintage Square?
Yes, it was this particular one. Yes.
Yeah. It's ugly, though. That's the problem.
I don't think that's ugly.
No.
It's
beautiful.
Completely out of proportion.
No, that's lovely.
It is. No, the fuselage is nice on its own, but then that's got that stupid little tail. The wing is ridiculously small. It just looks out of proportion. What is it people do when they design furniture and stuff? Those Fibonacci numbers and everything looks beautiful.
A beautiful sequence. You end up with this.
No, you don't. No, you don't. That's someone who's no good at maths who's ended up with that. No,
this is a beautiful machine.
It's not.
It's
individual. The sum of the parts is not. It doesn't work. Whatever
as someone who doesn't like the Super Constellation.
Well, clearly, no one in their right mind would.
CFI Cookie says that's like flying through a letterbox. Yeah, that is a tiny windscreen on that Monocoop. Yeah. So just looking through the comments, we have
Ian wins.
No, I don't think so. It's a good start from Dave, trousered and fancy spats. I think that must be Johnny's choice. Dave is the winner.
They're not trousers.
No, they're not. It's not really trousered undercarriage. That. Ian, you lose. Ian wins.
What?
There we go.
Africa, there you go, African Eagle. Thank you very much.
2v12s, is that a tad thirsty?
Who cares?
You'll never be able to get fuel, let alone parts. Kia Williams said, I was about to say a monocoupe, Ed wins. Johnny wins. Johnny wins. Bit dumpy. Oh, Nick Allen.
Yes.
No chance.
Exactly. Look at it. That's the problem.
Dave is the winner. Is it your photo? It was my photo. We were really lucky. This is from Oshkosh last year, and we actually flew this monocoupe, looking fabulous, with the little RV3 that I bought and imported. I should have stuck a photo in the comment. It would have been great, but magical moment for that. Johnny wins. Everyone wins, says Annabelle. Who I saw earlier described her Fly 2023 experience so far as like she's had so many breaking her aeroplane incidents, not actual crashes, but just things coming off or things breaking. She was having 23 breakings.
23 breaking things.
Ed wins, Johnny wins, Dave wins, Dave wins. That's nice. What's nice, Steve? Dave wins, Ed wins, still Dave. Ed wins, closely followed by Dave. Michael Pear says Condor. Yeah, okay. Ian wins by a mile. Ty, Dave, and Ed. Ed definitely wins. Ed wins.
People, what is wrong with you? Look at this.
Dave,
Look at it.
Dave wins, but only because no one chose a beat 70. That's true. Yeah. Tiny Finn. Yeah, it is a tiny fin, Mike.
Yeah.
7 made, all written off. Says it all. Sorry, Ed, you lose this week. Dave wins. Johnny. Keep if Ian keeps arguing, I will unwin him. GB on steroids. There we go. Jenny wins. Ian needs new gigs.
New gigs?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I don't know. Only arrived. Dave wins. All wonderful. Paul Cadell has final say.
Well done,
there
Paul.
we go.
Paul's been on holiday and come back a diplomat, hasn't he?
There we go. Yes.
Well done, Paul. Right. Okay. What else have we got? I think we might have to award that reluctantly to Dave there. Probably.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. Who knows?
Who could have figured that Luscombe would win?
Yeah, indeed. Right.
On that bombshell.
Does anyone know anything about events? I can see on my list here that on Saturday, the 15th of April, Vintage Aircraft Club Spring Flying
to Western. Yeah, definitely.
What else have we got?
15th to the 30th of April. Top Nav is running at various airfields across the UK. Sunday,
16th.
Open day at Popham, by the looks of it.
And Aero's next week. If you can't come to Aero, then look out for all of our reports on the YouTube channel. There's going to be tons and tons and tons of them. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
As it were.
I'd offer people prizes for coming to find us at Aero, but it seems like there's going to be a few of you and we probably run out really fast.
Yep, absolutely. Feel free. I was going to say, feel free to come across and buy us a beer, but having listened to Frank, feel free to come across and buy us a glass of still water.
Yes.
Sparkling if you feel like it. And that'd be good. So on that note, I think it's time to say thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday, although we'll be on the Cirrus Standard Aero for members for Livestream Extra. We'll be back Thursday evening from one of our hotel rooms. Whoever's got the best internet will be in the hotel room there. It'll be me, Dave, Ed, and Rachel Ramsey are coming over for the team. There'll be a video out in the next couple of days. The times for the live streams are the normal live streams, Crispin. So 3 o'clock UK time, 4 o'clock German time on Wednesday, and 8:30 Thursday evening. Give us time to eat our Venus schnitzels.
Yeah, 7:30 UK time.
7:30 UK time, 8:30 German time.
Yeah,
that's it. So look forward to that. Have a great one, and we will see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Fly safe, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks, Paul. See you in the thing.